I'm Milton from TeamFFLEX. This is Protein Power, where we're talking about everything nutrition every single Monday. Today, I'm going to talk about the science of your calories and figuring out your macros and understanding how you can cut, how you can build, how you can maintain. We're going to talk about all that today. This is relevant for any client out there, anybody who's doing anything with their nutrition. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and then share out the video for me, because that is how we spread the word and we get more people the knowledge they need. I'm Milton from TeamFFLEX. This is Protein Power. Today I want to talk about nutrition, alright? And when I'm talking about this today, I want to cover basically three things for you. I want to talk about calories when you're cutting, alright? You're losing weight. Anybody that wants to burn fat, this is what we're talking about. Weight loss, contest prep, coming into a show. It's all down here in this calorie cut, all right? We're going to talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about maintaining your weight. Some people just want to maintain, they want to optimize. We'll talk about that, and then we're going to talk about calories and macros if you're trying to build, okay? We're talking about building strength, building muscle, hypertrophy and size, all that kind of stuff. First thing you got to understand, ladies and gents, is there is a different level of calories and macros you need to do for each one of these three things. If you're trying to lose weight or burn fat, you got to have less calories. You're trying to maintain, well, you might stay right around where you're at right now. And if you're trying to build, you're going to need more. This is something that a lot of people don't understand, okay? And it's crazy to me the amount of clients I've worked with over the years that maybe were even experienced competitors, right? You would assume they would know these things. They have no idea the actual science behind their nutrition and why certain things work certain ways. And this for sure goes into the mass, lifestyle kind of clientele out there where they're doing all different fad diets. They're going from here to here. They don't understand what's actually going on. So I kind of want to make this video today, explain these things, so hopefully I can give you some insight and some understanding, because I believe when people have more knowledge, when athletes have more knowledge, when clients that are lifestyle clients have more knowledge, when anybody with any goal has more knowledge about it, they are able to apply themselves better and they're more likely to be successful in that goal.
I think I'm playing chess, I see a king, I'm at his neck. I'm 3 steps ahead at every move, now that's a check. Yes, they wanna know my secret.
So best place to start would probably be if you want to maintain, because it's the one that least people least care about. Honestly, most people don't really want to maintain, but you may attend to a spot where you do. And so if you want to maintain, what you have to understand about maintenance calories and maintenance macros is you have to meet your metabolic rate. And remember what I just said, because metabolic rate is going to go for these other two areas as well. Metabolic rate basically means we need to know what amount of calories you're burning in your body at rest and through activity, right? That's going to give us a basic amount of calorie output, and we want to figure out where that is to be able to see, okay, what amount of calories do we need to maintain? Now, most people won't have to go too in depth here as far as macros and calories. If you're just in maintenance mode, you might be able to flip-flop, your carbs, your fats, your proteins, things like that. But what you always want to be aware of is that if you're maintaining, you shouldn't be going up and down dramatically on a scale, right? You're not, in other words, losing weight. You're not, in other words, building. Your literal goal is to maintain. And while you might stay here and maybe optimize your physique, you're not trying to burn fat or build muscle. You're just trying to maintain your physique. Now, this can be done through various ways with your macros. Like I mentioned before, some people will do this with low carb. Some people will do this with high fat. Some people do this more balanced. One thing you always got to make sure you pay attention to, though, no matter who you are, is your protein intake. We want to make sure your protein is always at the level it needs to be at. In a general sense, I suggest 1 gram per pound of body weight. And I know a lot of people say, no, it should be lean mass. There's all these different things. Hey, if you're training with weights and you are an active person in general, you're going to be safe with 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's why I say it is a general recommendation here on this video. Obviously, every single person is different. Obviously, every single person needs different things, and that's where the customization comes into all the nutrition that we do on TeamFFLEX. But as a general rule, anybody watching, you want to play it safe, you want to make sure you're getting it, get 1 gram per pound of body weight. And yeah, if that means that you are super heavy, that means you're going to have a lot, right? The more you weigh, the more you got to have. I'm 270 pounds. I got to have 270 pounds of protein a day if I want to hit that category I just talked about. That's just what it comes down to, all right? From there, you can break up your macros a little bit differently, your carbs, your fats, however you feel fit. Some people like lower carb or the keto, right? Some people like higher fat. Some people like lower fat, higher carb. You can figure that out. You got to stay within your calories, okay? And so you figure out your calories because you will see if your body starts gaining weight or it starts losing weight. And if it doesn't, then now you're at your maintenance level. 1, 2, 3! Talk about is probably one of the most common ones, right? Weight loss, body fat loss, contest prep, people going into a show. This is what you're doing. Your goal is to burn fat, lean out, whatever it is, lose weight, all that's the same stuff. And that's what we call a calorie deficit. All right, so we talked about maintenance. That would be the caloric maintenance, the basic metabolic rate, all that stuff that we just talked about. To actually lose weight, though, you need to be below that. Okay? You have to actually eat less than your body burns because then your body will turn to your body fat stores instead. See what I'm saying? So in reality, what happens is you go into a caloric deficit and you will lose weight. Now, the amount of weight that you will lose, the amount of body fat you will burn, in other words, is entirely dependent on the amount of calories you take off. As a general rule, when I'm doing coaching, I start with a 500 calorie cut because that 500 calorie cut is usually going to equate to about half a pound to a pound of body fat weight loss per week. Now, a lot of people don't understand this and they freak out when they realize they gotta cut calories on a diet, right? I've had clients I've worked with in the past where they say, hey, I wanna lean out for the summer, or I wanna start my prep, and then I'll cut their calories. I'll be like, whoa, what just happened? Why are we cutting calories? Because you gotta lose weight, you gotta lean out. You can't do that if you're at a caloric maintenance, or especially can't if you're at a surplus, which we'll get to in a minute. But if you want to lose weight, you have to eat under whatever amount of your maintenance has been, okay? And there's a number of equations to figure this thing out, but mainly I suggest cut your calories by 500 and start with that. Now, as you monitor your progress, you see how you go, you're going to be able to adjust that. Maybe you're losing weight too fast, maybe you're losing it not at all. And here's the thing that you got to understand about caloric deficits, fam. Caloric deficits don't just come down to equations, okay? They don't just come down to equations, meaning if I cut your calories as a client or an athlete by 500 and nothing changes, guess what that means? We didn't hit a deficit. Your body will lose weight, burn fat if it's in a true deficit. There's a whole bunch of variance in actually what a true deficit could be, depending on your metabolic rate, depending on how well you're actually tracking your calories, the amount of people that don't realize that certain things have calories that they're eating small amounts of that actually add up to be a lot of calories over time. It's crazy. It happens all the time. So it could be something to do with your metabolic rate not actually being what it was calculated or what was thought. And then it could also be that your tracking is not that accurate, okay? And you could be off or not doing it as best you could. So with that, you got to understand there's a variance in the amount of calories that you may need to cut, or you might need to go from your supposed maintenance level to actually burn fat. As far as your ratios of macros go, you want to always prioritize that protein. keep the protein as high as you can. Keep it at 1 gram per pound of body weight. When it comes to cutting now, a lot of times what I'm going to suggest is a carb decrease. Keep your fats up as high as you can. Keep your proteins up, and roll with that. Go from there, because when you cut the carbs are a non-essential nutrient. You don't need them as much as you need fat and you need protein. So with that, we can cut carbs down. We can also manipulate them up if we need to when we go into a surplus, which we'll talk about in just a second. But generally I say, hey, we're going to dial down the carbs. Again, when you diet, the goal should always be to eat as much as you can while still getting results. And a lot of people mistake that I've said that before for the fact of let's cut your calories 100. Cutting your calories 100 is never going to do anything for you. If you want results, if you're going about a cut, if you're going about a prep, you're going about losing weight for whatever reason, you have to do what it takes, and that requires that you get your metabolic rate figured out, and then you get under it with your calories. You start burning calories. You start eating less, and that way you're going to actually lose weight. You're going to burn fat. You'll be able to attain your contest prep. Truth is, if you're not seeing progress, it's because you're not in a deficit. You might need to go lower with your calories, and for some people, that's a hard pill to swallow. But at the end of the day, that is what it takes, ladies and gents. Alright, let's talk about if you want to actually build some muscle though. We covered the maintenance calories, we covered the weight loss calories, the fat loss calories. Let's talk about muscle building, strength building. This is a whole separate category. Again, notice how we talked about already 2 things, but we have 3 total. And these are all different goals. Funny enough, people always want to do all these things at the same damn time. Well, if you want to build muscle, you want to get stronger, you want to, hypertrophy any part of your body, build it, grow it, you have to be in what's called a caloric surplus. Now this means more calories than you need to maintain your current body weight. So if you're at maintenance right now, we need to actually raise your calories to figure out how to build muscle, build strength, do all that. That's the only place it's going to happen, in that surplus, in other words, okay? And so when we're talking about a surplus, really what we're talking about is a lot of the same stuff. We want to prioritize your protein. We want to keep your fats up. We want to bring your carbs up. We're looking at an increase anywhere from 500 to 1,000 calories, depending on how aggressive the person wants to build, all right? What happens is muscle is built at a very slow rate. This is what a lot of people don't understand. It blows my mind. Even the amount of people I've coached over the years, they don't understand the rates of actual muscle building. If you are a natural person building muscle, you're going to be lucky to build 10 pounds of muscle in a year. Literally hear what I just said, especially as a woman, right? Like if you're a woman and you're doing everything perfect, we're talking about your eating, your training, your recovery, your sleep, your water, everything perfect 365 days a year, you might be lucky to get 12 pounds of muscle. Guys are going to be around 20, but the point is, either way, it's not that much that fast. A lot of people think that that's how you build muscle, but it's because they had beginner gains, okay? When you go from no muscle, when you go from not training hard to all of a sudden training hard, you can build muscle faster, and it looks good on your body, it feels good. It might feel like you built a lot more than you actually did, because maybe you just built a few pounds. And that's what people got to understand, right? So all these people that go gain tons of weight in their off season, or they say they're on a bulk and they gain 50 pounds, well, let me tell you a story. Most of that's body fat, all right? If you're trying to build muscle, you're trying to burn fat, I always say it should be, as constructive as possible when we go in. You don't want to, in other words, build a bunch of body fat and actually not have built that much muscle. You want to keep yourself lean, so you're kind of keeping the body fat ratios down and building muscle. So I say, hey, guess what? Let's increase calories by 500. 500 to start, and then you can work your way up, see how the body responds. That's key to everything we're talking about. I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But the point is here, when we're talking about building muscle, it can't be done that dramatically quickly, naturally. You can't do it. If you're somebody who's taking steroids or something, whatever, your percentage of muscle increase is going to be 300 times what a natural person can get in the same amount of time. And what you have to understand about this means your best way to build muscle, to build strength, and to actually have a great physique is to do this as slow as you can. I know a lot of people want to jump to 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 calories right in their bulk load. They're not even tracking, right? They go into improvement season or off season, not even tracking, and guess what happens? You gain a bunch of body fat, and at the end of the day, when you want to get lean, when you want to look good, you're just going to have a lot more work to do, okay? So it's better to do this at a slower pace. A lot of times, again, I'm manipulating carbs here. I'm saying keep the protein at 1 gram per pound of body weight, work with the fats in a nice healthy level, and let's bring the carbs up because carbs are easy to eat, gets the calories up. It will help you grow. It will help you have energy for the gym. It will help you get where you want to be with your build, your bulk, your strength, whatever it is. So we covered all three things, and now I hope you understand one thing about all this is it's different, right? If you want to maintain, it's different than if you want to lose weight. And if you want to lose weight, burn fat, it's different than if you want to build muscle. And guess what? You can't do all three at the same time. Literally, you have to do one, and that's the one you're going to do. You're either making a choice to maintain your current physique, and you're going to have your nutrition fit accordingly. You're either going to make a choice to burn body fat, lose weight, do a contest prep, and you're going to have your nutrition fit accordingly. Or you're going to make a choice to build muscle, get stronger, hypertrophy, all that, and you're going to make a choice to have your calories be higher. At the end of the day, ladies and gents, it is a mind-boggling thing to me. How many people have been training for so long, they've been doing nutrition, they've been, bodybuilders for years, and they literally don't understand this. They know, oh, my coach gave me this meal plan, I heard this, I heard that, I read this, that, but they don't understand the basics of science regarding your nutrition. At the end of the day, here's the truth, too. These equations that people like me use, coaches use, all different nutrition type people use, they're not 100% for anybody. And what I mean by this is I've encountered so many clients in my time working with clients the past 8-9 years that don't fit the mold of what the program says, right? Like you run the equations, you spend all this time, it won't fit the mold. On TeamFFLEX, I've actually made my own variations of these equations because I know, okay, this one doesn't work that good for these people most of the time, but it's in the textbook, and this one doesn't work that good for most people most of the time, but it's in the textbook. Well, I'm going to mix my own, and that's what we've done on TeamFFLEX. We work with our own equations, we find our own calories, and then here's where it really comes to be the most important, the constant adaptation, okay? So on TeamFFLEX, I'm looking at clients' check-ins, I'm looking at their body stats, I'm looking at their stats in the gym because we have this app where we can see everything that's going on. I know if my clients are gaining weight too fast. I know if they're not losing weight. I know if they're eating right. I know if they're training hard. I know if their weights are going up. I know all this. And with that, we are able to make adjustments. And I think that's a huge factor for anyone watching this. Don't just run an equation or a calculator online and think that you found the Holy Grail, because at the end of the day, most of the calculators online don't work as it is. They're already flawed as it is. And so even if you get a good set of numbers that by chance somehow works for you for a short period of time, it will be short-lived no matter what it is. It'll be short-lived to maintain, it'll be short-lived to lose, it'll be short-lived to burn or build, because at the end of the day, you have to adapt. You have to see how your body's going, right? You have to be able to adjust, okay? And so if you can't adjust, you're going to have serious issues getting constant results. And at the end of the day, what are you doing this for if you're not in it to get long-term consistent results, right? And here's the best way I can explain this to anybody watching, because I know it sounds like I'm honestly rambling a little bit at this point, but if you've lost, let's say you're 220 pounds, okay? 220-pound person, and you lose 10 pounds. Do you think that the calories that you did to lose those 10 pounds are going to continue to serve you to 200, to 190, to 180, and so on? No. The calories set for you to lose weight at 220 pounds will help you lose weight. but there's a point where your metabolism is adapted and your output's different, and the calorie output that you actually need, your caloric maintenance, in other words, is now at a different range. And you're actually gonna have to lower your calories. Same thing happens when you build. As you build muscle, you start with maybe a 500 calorie increase, you build some muscle, you build some strength, you put on a little bit of weight, whatever. Do you think that you can just consistently keep eating that and continue to get results? No, it's gonna have to go up. The more muscle you build, the more calories it needs, and so on and so forth. And so with this, a lot of people I know, they want the short-term pill. They want the idea of, I'll run the calculator, I'll save myself the money, I'll do this all on my own, and it just doesn't work. It's not going to serve you. This is the fad diet problem. This is the lazy coach problem. This is the online calculator problem. This is the fitness apps tracking problem. You gotta be able to understand that every single goal is different. If you want to burn, it's different. If you want to build, it's different. And if you want to maintain, it's gonna be different. And at the end of the day, you gotta know what to do, where to go, and how to do it. And that's why having a coach is so valuable. Anyone that wants help with nutrition, go to TeamFFLEX.com right now and drop your email in our free trial box, and we will help you with your nutrition. Truth is, at the end of the day, when you're looking at these three areas, you cannot predict anybody's metabolic rate with just equations. Those are the best fit models, the best information we have, the best ideas we have. It is the best intent for sure. But at the end of the day, they don't always work. Sometimes you'll cut someone's calories 500 and they won't lose weight. Sometimes you'll cut it 1,000 and they won't lose weight. And that could be because of metabolic rate issues, right? Maybe their metabolism's damaged somehow, or they have some underlying issue going on in their body that they don't even know about, let alone they could tell your coach. Or maybe they're just not tracking right. That happens all the time, right? People using ketchup on their eggs, not realizing that every single tablespoon of ketchup has X amount of calories, and it adds up over 50 times you used it that week. And so all these things can come into play. Same with building, right? Same with building muscle. If you're in a caloric surplus, a lot of people don't understand the fact that, hey, you might need way more calories. I just started coaching to do this last week. I ran his calories, ran his equation, took his body weight, did all this stuff, spent 45 minutes coming up with this dude's ideal macros that I want him to do. And I gave them to him, and I was like, he's like, oh man, this is starving. I ate 2 meals and I'm hungry right now. I was like, dude, what have you been eating? Because this guy wasn't tracking. So I was like, just go track for a few days for me. Just track everything you're eating. Turns out this guy's eating over 5,000 calories. This is 2,500 more than I had programmed for him based on equations, okay? So obviously now what I have to do is say, whoa, okay, well actually let's adjust this, let's move that, let's bring this in here, and let's get him some new macros, right? So these are the times where things cannot be just generic. You can't just run it through an equation. You can't just get a calculator. You can't get a lazy coach. You got to have somebody invested in you that understands this stuff, because if you're not going to go understand it, if you're not going to go figure it out, if you're not going to know when to bring carbs up, take them down, move this, do cuts, bring calories up, do all that, if you're not going to invest years and years of your time to figure it out, then you got to invest into a coach, okay? And that's why I strongly suggest anybody does, if you made it this far, you need help with your nutrition, or you just want another perspective, another idea, go to TeamFFLEX.com and put your email in that pop-up. It's a free trial to our coaching app where we coach all of our competitors, all our lifestyle clients. It is awesome. It's a great experience. It's a give back to the community. We do this to give you knowledge, to give you help. That's what we want to do, and I really hope that you go check that out. And I hope even if you don't, you got a new perspective today, and hopefully a new understanding on how calories and how macros work. I could go way more in depth in this. Honestly, I could probably run a 7-day, 10-hour-a-day talk about this, but I'm giving you what I can right now to hopefully open your mind, give you some new ideas, and understand that, hey, certain things aren't going to work for you. And if you've been stuck, you've been in a spot where you didn't get where you want to be and all these things, you really got to take these things in consideration. And if you can't figure it out yourself, it's better to hire somebody that can do it for you, right? What I always say is, when your car breaks down, most of you don't get a wrench and go under the damn car. You drive it to the mechanic, because they know what to to do, they'll fix it and they'll get it done for you. That's the same when it comes to trainers and coaches. Don't hire shitty mechanics if you expect your car to run. I'm Ryan Milton from TeamFFLEX. Thank you for watching Protein Power. Please subscribe, please share. See you tomorrow for Iron Palace. Thanks for watching. Coach Ryan is out.